All right. Yes, and we're all live. That's beautiful. We are definitely live on YouTube, and this is a Q&A, live Q&A about music production, about mixing, about anything you want to know in music production. Everything from building business, building songs, through music production, music arrangement, mixing, mastering, to get music out there, and marketing, and everything in between. So let's hit it. If you have some questions about it, let me know, and we'll try to address them as good as possible. This is, as you already know, the IWM channel, which is a channel that is not only for music lovers, but also for you people out there that really wants to know how things are done in the studio. Is it possible to grow a business these days on such a basic thing as music production? Well, yes, it is. It's definitely a good time for that. You have to do some tweaks. It's my opinion. To do it really the way you want it, and to find clients in a certain segment that you really want to find them in, because they will not just pop up and scream at you and say, hey, let's do something together. Hey, you have to search for them, you have to find them, you have to chase them down, and you have to treat them as good as you possibly can, because they are the flow for your business, and you wanna really treat them as good as possible. So I'm looking at the comment section and see if we have any questions. Well, one of the questions that I get a lot is, it's simply, how are business these days, and also after the corona, at least in Sweden, and I believe that there's a difference between how you really solve the situation with how you meet the situation with the corona in Sweden. If you run your own business, some business owners, they wait for money from the government, and some other business owners, they really believe that, okay, let's see what we can do instead of what we can't do. So let's try to develop our skills. Let's do some different things and see what we can find, where we can find our clients these days, because they are out there, but not necessarily in the same way as before, but in another way. And so that's really how I see it. You have to find different ways, and you shouldn't be disappointed if things are not the way they were before, because they are not, and you have to find new ways and new tweaks and new paths, I guess. So that's one of the questions I get a lot. One other question that I get a lot is, the sound is not fat. How can you get it fat? Can you get it? Can you get it more fat? And that is something that takes a lot of time to discuss and to address, because my opinion is that there are many small tweaks that you have to do for getting a production fat. It has a lot to do with balance, volume balance, straight out of the most common thing in mixing. The volume balance has a lot to do with it. EQ balance, the frequency balance, has a lot to do with it as well. Of course, compression comes in as well. Maybe you have to group certain things, group a couple of instruments together, and add some compression to that sound, to that group, and then small things, small compression setups during the whole for the whole session really sums up to be a fat mix. It can really be about taking stuff away instead of adding stuff, and know what to take away. I can't say exactly what frequencies you have to take away, because for getting a production fat, because it all depends on the source and where you are at the moment with your mix. But you have to find certain frequencies on certain sounds that are not as necessary as others, and maybe take them down a little bit, so that other frequencies can bloom out on other instruments and take that volume space, and make things fat, I guess. So there's so many things. One of the things that I really love last couple of years is to really enhance and to really dig into the world of gates, and to really I really appreciate when the sound and the production are sometimes completely quiet. And I'm not saying a couple of dBs, I mean 100% quiet. It's zero. And you can do that with gates. You can also do that with a master fader to automize, put some put it on, what do you call it? Automation. And it's really something that can really take away the floor of where you're standing at the moment. You really can gain a couple of dBs down underneath the floor if you do that. So that's really, really effective. What else is it to talk about? Fatness and gate. Well, I mean, somebody says that a compressor is a smart volume fader, and I really believe so. You can achieve almost anything with automation instead, but it's really hard when the attack is really, really, really fast. You have to be very quick with your drawings or your manipulation of the drawings, but it's still a intelligent volume fader. So you have to see it and look at it and hear it as that. So that's pretty cool. One of the questions that I get a lot is, well, not a lot, but sometimes, is probably, can you treat, you have to do something about the S's. And the S's, I am the first one to admit that it is a tricky one. It depends on everything. It depends on the singer, depends on the mic choice, depends on the mic distance between the mouth and the mic, the gain of the mic, the gain of the preamp, and so many other things. How much you add later, how much top you add later on the sound as well. And you have to find a way to get stuff really, really good from the beginning. If you really push on the S's in the beginning of the process, like an old theatrical opera singer, then you will probably end up with a lot of problems later. So you have to really tweak it, not to treat it good in the beginning. So when you start record with your S's, you have to really be gentle, not necessarily in a way that sounds crazy, sounds unnatural, but you don't want to really push them. That's going to end up in a troublesome bin. So be careful with the S's, and of course, the closer you end up to a microphone with the S's, especially a condenser microphone, the more problems you're going to get later as well. So try stuff out and don't rely on the deessing. You can surely use one if you believe that it enhances the sound, but it's not the go-to way, in my opinion. You have to treat it from the beginning. I have artists that I'm working with that have completely different styles of tweaking S's. One of them is more like a old style opera type of singer, and she really put some emphasis on the S's, and that can really end up in a big problem later. And I have another singer that, I mean, I have almost never treated his S at all, because he has this dull S's, very, very good on the ear and audible. Is that a word? So be careful with S's and siblings. Not siblings, syllables. Siblings is something else. you have to really make sure you treat them and record them good from the beginning, and you will not end up with a lot of problems later in that scale, I guess. So what is it more to say about this? Well, something you can do to really that has a lot of feeling embedded in it and feeling that can be evolved from it is to tweak the return of, let's say, a delay or a reverb. And what is that? Well, it's really the wet sound that you have on an effect. It's a huge difference if you have a lot of low end on a reverb, let's say a 2-3 second reverb, or if you have a lot of mid instead of low end. It's a huge difference. And you can also, one of my favorite things to do is really to mix reverbs and delays together. And depending on how you do that, you can really end up with a wall of sound, like a big deep sea that you're diving into if you treat it well. There's just so many things you can do with the combination between delays and reverbs, and try to just tweak the frequency curve of the return of the, let's say, a delay or a reverb, and see what kind of feeling that gets, because it's going to be a huge difference. Try that. What else? My last tip for you today. Well, okay. So if you work with samples, I work with samples every single day, and be sure not to use the 127 velocity sample choice level all the time, because you have nowhere to go. You have nowhere up from 127. If you're doing drums, maybe start at 70, 80 and listen to those samples. And then sometimes if you want to hit a hard beat, then you can come up to 110, 150, 120 maybe. So that's really where the drummer hits it hard, and then it goes back to 70, 80, because that's how you build dynamics and feeling for the drummer and the virtual drummer, I guess. If you have any other comments, please let me know, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, of course. Then you will not end up in not seeing any, not getting any notifications about the videos. Of course, I want you to do that, so you don't miss out on anything. Until next time, take care. Don't forget to be a friend.